Greetings, everybody. Bless up, bless up. Welcome to another live. As per usual, waiting to see who will join me tonight. Welcome, welcome. I have one person with me. Welcome to the stream. I hope you can see the question so you can start thinking about it. Do we really want peace? Do you want peace in Jamaica? Do you want peace in our communities? Very easy to say you want peace, but I'd say 95%, bless up, 95% of the people who say they want peace, they don't. Very easy to say these words, and we're going to discuss it tonight. When you look at the climate, when you look at violence in Jamaica, we have a lot of condemnation for people who are running amok of our society. We are quick and ready with the condemnation. But if you take a close look at people and listen very carefully to individuals, for some reason, the ego is so big nowadays, Ras, Adeno. Our ego is so big that we're not willing to just walk away from simple disagreements. We're not prepared to throw in the towel. And sometimes when you walk away from arguments or from a fight, it doesn't mean you're weak. It actually means that you're very strong. Would you agree, Ras? It takes a very strong man or woman to walk away from a fight. There are times when you have to walk away. Okay, sister, it's all a matter of time. One day the gun and knife will turn on the right people. Nothing negative happen forever. Of course, but I think we need more people in our community to cry peace, and not just cry peace with words, but with action. And I think it's time for African people to understand that if you have the courage to stand back and to stand down for peace sake when it comes to other people, you should do the same for your own. Okay? What I also want to say too is even the individuals who are responsible for running amok in our communities, in Jamaica and wherever, here in Canada, I live in Toronto, and our young people are doing some crazy things. But I believe that a lot of these young men in Toronto that are running around and shooting each other, remember, we're taught to hate each other. We're programmed. I'm not saying it has to stay that way, but the truth is we are programmed. I am willing to bet 100% that a lot of these individuals who are demonstrating this aggression towards each other have had some painful past. I've had some horrible experiences in their life. I've had people who was willing to condemn them and told them that they were nothing. That rage, that disrespect, that violation they experienced in their life from youth, from they were little, from parents, from community members, from teachers, from people who they look up to be their role models. These individuals never had anyone to say, I believe in you. And not trying to be politically correct, but sometimes one has to meet people where they're at. And one of the things that I have learned in life is nobody listens to you when you're condemning them. If you have a kid and you're talking down to the child, for the most part, if the kid changes that behavior when you're talking down to them, it's only a matter of time before they stand up to you and they disrespect you. Every child that I've ever met, I have treated them like an adult by showing them respect. Respect. And when we talk about respect, I'm talking about superficial things with people pretending, to love you because you have money or because you're wealthy. I'm talking about true respect where you're going down to somebody's level. So you go to the gunman. You can't go to the gunman and start telling him you're a murderer and you're evil. Even the gunman, even the criminal, even these murderers that are running around in Jamaica, they can meet somebody who can speak to them in such a way that will allow them to say, I want to change. If you're talking to somebody and you're claiming that you're encouraging them to stop violence, to change their ways, and you're doing it in a way that makes the person feel worse about themselves, I guarantee you they will not listen to you. And I don't think that there is any criminal, no matter how wicked they are, that doesn't have someone that has the ability to reach them. Now, we're not talking about people who are psychopaths or, narcissists. These are mental health problems. You can't reason with these individuals so easily. What I'm talking about, people you can rationally explain things to. You have got to meet people where they're at. Now, back to the old peace argument. Yeah, people. Yes, Sebastian. People teach their kids lies. The earth is flat, yet still Black parents teach globe to them. We have to just be realistic. We have to come down to people's level, and we can't be condescending. I'm going in this live. I also want to talk about us being very careful. People who have opportunities, people who had a chance to travel, people who have exposure to worldly things, people who are in better financial situations, people who have had the blessing of a good education. You have to be very careful how you deal with people, because when you have privileges that are denied to other person, you are not in a position to judge those individuals. And if you talk down to someone, if you say you are unworthy, and when you check it out, the opportunities that were available to you was not available to those individuals that you claim is unworthy, that they behave in a particular way that you wouldn't behave because you're exposed, because you've had certain experiences. We have to be very careful. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that. This is just a preface, just to say, do you really want peace? Because I think before we can deal with our dirty laundry and our backyard affairs, we have to first come to the point where we want peace, where there's love, there's harmony among people. We're not talking about utopia. Again, I'm going to say that. I'm not expecting, this kumbaya and everybody's getting along and whatever. I think we as African people, as Jamaican people, don't understand that we don't have to be best of friends, but we can understand how we can work together as a community to build not just self, but our community, our country, our nation, and all of that. Asia, you soon see Jamaica in China too. Now you realize that Israel is now in Asia, as soon as you see Jamaica in China too. Yeah, all of that. Look here, I really want to talk about the legalization of marijuana as well in this video. And the point I want to make about the legalization of marijuana is to say that today was the first day that marijuana is legalized in this country. And the thing about it is, people are not as docile as they once were back in the day. I shouldn't use the word docile, but back in the day, if there was something that is considered illegal, most people would stay away from that. But people are not staying away from the things that are classified as illegal or, something that is against the law. People are just doing whatever they want to do. And laws are in place to make sure that there's not such abuse of people or things or whatever, But people are going to do what they're going to do, regardless. And now that we've seen a legalization of marijuana in this country, the question becomes, why is Jamaica behind? Why is Jamaica not a part of this when Jamaicans have been planting marijuana for many, many, many years, many decades? And if truth be told, many have died because they planted marijuana. Many have gone to prison. Many have lost their livelihood, freedom and all that you can think people could possibly lose from being involved in this. Where do you live? This is my first time seeing your YouTube video pop up on SoFlo Rapper, but I like how you speak. Thank you very, Sebastian. You know, I live in Canada, and my little channel has been here for a long, long time. But you know, this is how it is. Um, I tell people all the time, there's no need to rush anything, fame or fortune. No need to seek attention when the time is right. Um, you'll be seen, you'll be found. Just keep selling your oranges if that's what you're pushing. Sell your mangoes if that's what you're pushing. No need to be, you know, scared. So Jamaicans are scared of the American sanction. I'm glad you said that. But now I understand we're a small nation and we're not powerful and we don't have big military might and all that stuff. But I hope this is a lesson to them, because every country, every government should have autonomy. Every country should be able to dictate or decide how they want to do certain things. And as far as the marijuana thing is concerned, we were ahead of the game. I still think that Jamaica has the best marijuana in the world. And at this point, we are just not going to just be we're not going to be producers. We are going to be in that slave mode where we are planting and producing for other people. And I see the hypocrisy in this, in the sense that the rest of the world now decides that marijuana is okay, it's good for your health. My whole life I heard that marijuana was this terrible, horrible thing. It was terrible for your health. It was something that was going to cause you to go mentally insane. Our prejudice as a people, even in Jamaica where marijuana is concerned, is you just have to listen to the typical person to hear them say how, you know, if you're smoking marijuana, you're a bum or you're a horrible person. The argument that marijuana was destructive, was an awful thing for so many years, is so embedded in our mind that when you listen to the older folks talk about it, not realizing that some of the most intellectual, most educated people are heavy users of marijuana. But like everything else, not that you want to go out there and break the rules and break the laws in society. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that, but I'm thinking this should be an example. Greetings, DJ. It's typical, you know, typical that you wouldn't get any. That's just been the story of my channel, to be honest with you. We're always lagging behind because we allow other persons to tell you what is right and wrong. And we're not acting like adults, like we can make up our mind about the choices that we make in our life. Jamaica being so poor, let's say poor, Jamaica being such a poor country, had the opportunity to produce marijuana to be supplying the world now that they're ready for it, for marijuana. I mean, the sanctions can only come because you're the one who, first of all, I see Rastaman. Let's talk about this. Rastaman, and I don't want to ramble on because there's so many things in my mind right now, but I used to see Rastaman on YouTube taking foreigners through their marijuana fields and showing the different types of grade or types of marijuana that was available. These individuals would take them through some back bushes and show individuals what they were doing, where they were planting, how they're producing these things. And I used to think to myself, first of all, some of those guys that you're taking through those back bushes could very well be CIA, FBI, and they were doing this. And of course, after they show their property, sometimes their fields got raided and destroyed. But I used to see people also go to hotels in Jamaica and a whole group of foreigners, and they would be making these joints and they would point like 1 feet and 6 feet joint and they all smoke it and have a good time. And they wouldn't get in any trouble for it because there are these laws that seem to have double standards, one rule for one set of people and one rule for the next set of people. And that's not even what I'm talking about today. I'm just saying to myself that in Canada, marijuana is now legal. You can go and purchase your marijuana. Good night, Apple. We're talking about the ganja, the good old sensimina, how my country of residence right now, marijuana is now legal. And I'm sure there are people in Jamaica who are still in jail for smoking marijuana for a small joint. I know that they had passed some law recently where you wouldn't be arrested for a small amount of marijuana. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking for a small country that could benefit from the proceeds of marijuana. And marijuana is just not just for smoking, it's not just for drinking tea or whatever, but all the benefits of marijuana and the good old sensimina, and our people are not benefiting. Why? Someone said earlier that Jamaica is afraid of sanctions, but I wonder how they feel today when they see that marijuana has been freed up in the States for a little while now. I've seen people going to Jamaica and have seminars or whatever it is they have, where they have open meeting showing Jamaican people what they can do with marijuana. They can bake it, they can use it to make clothing, they can use it for oils and things like that. Of the competition with a small island. What are you saying, Ras? What were you saying about the competition with the small island? What I'm going to say here, and I'm saying it, at my own detriment, to say that Black people need to learn not to cause everybody else to tell them how to live their life and how to run their own country. It's time for us to become more autonomous. It's time for Jamaican government and Jamaican people to understand that the rules that bind them must be rules that they determine for themselves. Do you understand? So if you don't smoke marijuana, it doesn't mean that you can't plant it. But right now, as things stand, what we're seeing now is the marijuana. There's more freedom of movement in Jamaica with marijuana in terms of having a small amount to smoke. But it's the rich guy who is going to benefit. The rich guy is going to benefit from this marijuana, because if you want to get your license to produce marijuana in Jamaica, you have to give a large sum of money. You have to be associated to whatever organization that it is. They're not invited the common man to do that. They're not inviting the common man. So originally I asked the question, do we really want peace? You see, peace is not the absence of war. It's not just the absence of war. Peace is also having something about you as a person that allows you. There's a deep spiritual element to peace. To say that I know me, I know myself, I know where I'm going, I know what I want to do with my life, I know what I'm hoping to achieve in my personal life. I know what I want to see in my home, in my community, in the world. To create peace, a peaceful environment, you first have to have peace within yourself. And the only way for the Black man or the Black woman to be able to succeed in this world and to compete and to challenge and all of that stuff is to first create peace in themselves, in their own lives, and to seek it out. As far as it is possible for you to go to find peace, you must find peace. And once you found peace, with that comes purpose. Purpose. We always say we want peace, but if you listen to the conversation with people, if you bring peace to someone, if you show that you're waving the white flag, individuals are coming to tell you why you're wrong to wave it. We have to wave we have to wave that white flag in our country to tell the people, stop wasting time on war. Let's get to the place where we find personal peace and collective peace, because when we have this, we're able to accomplish great things. Do you agree, everybody? Is there anybody who agreed with what I'm saying so far or disagree? You don't have to agree. We need peace in our life. And we have to be prepared to walk out there and be the first one to say, you know what, even if you think I'm an idiot, I'm going to cry peace, because the problems we're having in our country starts with many individuals not having peace in themselves. We don't got no peace. We have no harmony. Let me read your comment, Ross. It says, it is not negotiable. Jamaica has the best marijuana in the world. However, now you see in America, even in the states on Florida where I live, you can get medical marijuana. America is scared. What are they scared of, Ross? What are they afraid of? America. What are they? Americans, are they afraid? We spend too much time fighting each other. That's the point. And we spend too much time sweating the small stuff. And while we're doing that, while we're busy killing each other over foolishness. The rest of the world is just getting stronger, and people are growing, and people are becoming more and more aggressive towards us. And because we have nothing to call our own, and because we have no plan, and because we have no peace, it's very easy for our lives to fall apart, for individuals to attack us. Jesus is all most Black people have, and they don't understand, you know, they don't understand that Jesus is a slave master way of keeping you weak. Pisces and Jesus, two fish. What do you say about Jamaica not being lined up for this new revolution as far as marijuana is concerned? Is there anyone here? What do you say? What do you think about, because with everything else, many things, I can name many things that used to be legal and is now legal. And usually by the time it becomes legal, it becomes this multi-trillion-dollar industry that benefits a few. The marijuana thing is what shocks me and makes me think to myself, wow, like if you don't have government that know how to run their own show, they get left behind. We are in this frying pan, and people always say jump out of the frying pan and into the fire. But we're not going to get a chance to jump into any fire. We're going to stay in that frying pan and burn because we're not learning. Apple says they're going to sell the weed farms to Russia or Mexico. Yeah, well, the Russians and the Mexicans and all the other folks are going to come to Jamaica, and it's going to be like the new plantation in terms of marijuana, because we are going to be planting it, but we're not going to be the producers, or we're not going to be planting it and benefiting from it. Just like the hotel industry, we are servants, or it's just servitude. That's the only service we provide. We're not the ones who own the hotels. We're not the ones who, are able to then use this as a means to grow. They're scared of the competition. But why did the people in Jamaica listen to that stuff? I mean, when every other place in the world are getting competition from other people, what do? They fight back. They don't surrender. They don't get scared to say, well, these people are going to give us opposition. These people are going to give us competition, so we're going to surrender. Marijuana was the devil. It was a demon in disguise. A few years ago, I saw something on CNN, and they were talking about the benefits of marijuana, about how it helped this girl who had epilepsy and all that stuff. And when I saw that documentary, I said, okay, marijuana is about to be legalized. Because suddenly the narrative has changed. It's no longer the devil's gateway, the devil's gateway drug. It is now something that's beneficial, which we all knew, right? I think that Jamaica needs more support from the Rasta community of Jamaica and first of all, maybe the government is afraid to go to the Rastafarians to ask them for support, because at the end of the day, I'm not sure if I should be telling Rastafarians to join any political organization or anything of any such, because the Rastamen got murdered, many of them. Let's not forget about Coral Garden, how they treated the Rastafarians terribly in their own country, all because they chose to say we're separating from a system that was oppressive, a system that is rooted in pain for our people. They killed the Rastafarians, and even to this day, Rasta still fighting for equality, still trying to gain acceptance in their own country. Don't be fooled to think that people have really respected or appreciate Rasta. People are still making snide comments about Rastafarians, still mocking Rastafarians in terrible ways. Don't pay attention to them. I don't think Rastafarians should be joining them. Rastafarians should be doing their own thing. And I guarantee you, even though, as I said, it's now not legal. What is the term? It's not legal in Jamaica, but it's decriminalized, right? It's decriminalized. But the Rastaman is not going to be invited to participate in this thing unless he's wealthy. The Prime Minister, like all the others, or most of the others, because you do have a few who stood up to the great USA. But some governments are puppets, and they don't understand that as a man, you should be standing or sitting around that table and be treated as a man. And if another country thinks this is beneficial to them, why can't you use the same thing to benefit your own people? Every government wants the best for their own people. So why is Jamaica not wanting the same? Jamaican PM are governed by foreign governments. Yet they talk about independence every year. It's so ridiculous. Watching him for his turn. Okay, that's good. I'll check him out. Ras Kitchen. I'll check out that channel. I've never heard of him before. Yeah. So I think the original question, back to that again, to say we don't want peace. We are busy fighting each other, warring with each other, not understanding that, you know what? That is not getting us anywhere. The system is set up and designed to keep us at each other's throat. And as Black men, I'm feeling disappointed that our men are not understanding that, look here, you need to get together as African men in your own country. And you don't have to just live in Jamaica. If you're Jamaican, or if you're even in Africa, it's a community effort. Building together, looking what's happening around you and seeing how other countries and other cultures are using their resources and coming up with creative ways how to improve themselves and improve their people. So we are warring with each other. It isn't what we ought to be doing. We should be building. And we should be looking at how the West and Europe, the resources that they're using to build their people. And if you're told that, you know, they can use this and benefit their people and gain wealth, you just have to go to that table and ask, why can't I do the same? If you're putting your comments, once again, I can't see it. It's disappeared from this screen. Can't figure out why every time I do a live, I'm not able to read the comments. It just keeps falling off the screen. I don't know what that's about. Marijuana is now legal in Canada. And of course, there are rules surrounding it. You can only have a certain amount, I guess. And I don't think you can just all of a sudden start farming it. You need a license to do that and all that. We have been taught to fight each other, and we need to look into and discuss our DNA. Explain a little bit more. Jamaicans are Americanized so much where they can't bear to know the visa will be narrowed down. My grandfather started the Congos and he recently died. It was crazy how they treated Rastas. Oh, you mean the Congo Rasta? Oh, I see. I mean, it's insane. I mean, the government, it was one of the Jamaican prime minister that sent police officers out and said to them, listen, bring them in dead or alive. Let's roll them over Bogue Hill or whatever they call it. So Rastafarians have had a real rough time in Jamaica by our own people. And I don't know if it was a directive of other people who said, listen, get rid of these people, because keep in mind, the Rastafarians have always tried to speak about justice or speak about injustice. Rastafarians have always tried to tell people, let go of, Babylon God that doesn't reflect us, that show us as infidels. Let go of the old plantation system. When you have people who speak this way, bless up. When you have people who are pushing for our people to be strong, to be wiser, to be wealthy. See, a lot of people say, yeah, man, I want everybody to, do well, but it's not true. You have individuals, when they see you growing or when they see that you're thriving, they just immediately start hating on you. They don't understand that we can share the pie. We can share the pie. You've got to pressure your governments to look out for your interests. If they're not looking out for your interests, thank you very much, Jamaican. Sometimes we're gonna agree to disagree. That's just how this thing is. Yeah, but tonight we're talking about um the country where I reside now legalizing marijuana, and Jamaica that have been planting marijuana from my eye was at my knee. Is not I'm not seeing any growth in that. I'm not seeing how this is gonna benefit the Jamaican people. I'm not seeing that. What's going on? When I was a little girl, I used to know about the Coptic. And back then, these were kids, these were teenagers. Some of these teenagers were planting marijuana in St. Ann, building mansions. And I remember seeing police coming to some of these marijuana fields and burning it flat to the ground. Flat to the ground. And people getting beaten and people going to jail. Criminal, this thing, the same. So please tell me, somebody, if this is why I get confused about laws and things like that, because the thing was terrible to the point where people lost their lives over it. People got punished. People got some serious time in prison. What has changed with marijuana that makes it okay for people to now use it? Yes, I will. I will check that out. I think he started the Rastafarian movement in Jamaica. I started seeing future in dreams about age 19, but only 3 years ago I started looking into it. Started with third eye, alien, UFO, flat earth. But you know what, Sebastian? Maybe you could send me an email at jennyren, JENNIRREN at gmail.com, and we could talk more about that. We'll talk about the changing of DNA and all that stuff, but I'm sticking to this marijuana conversation today to say what has changed with marijuana, where 2, 3, 4 years ago it was this horrible thing. 2, 3, 4 years ago, it was the forbidden thing, and now it isn't. What has changed? And changes occur. And I'm not trying to say that things shouldn't change and that people shouldn't be able to legally buy marijuana. And I'm sure that in this country, people who have a criminal record will have those expunged. It must be, because if it's now legal, you can't hold people for something that's now legal. But I guess when you break the law back then, you went to jail back then. But now things have changed. My thing is, I don't smoke marijuana. But if I did smoke marijuana, I would stop now. I wouldn't smoke it anymore. And I guess I'll be doing that out of protest. I wouldn't buy marijuana in this country. I wouldn't smoke it right now because I don't know why it's okay. I don't know why all of a sudden it's okay. I know that it used to be bad based on what I've seen and heard over the years. And now that it's good, now that it's good, I don't understand why it's good. Why should I smoke it now? Why is it okay for me to smoke it? And why is Jamaica not a part of this? Why is Jamaica, that has the best sensimina in the world, not getting rich? Our country should be getting rich from the production of marijuana. We should be setting up marijuana factories to sell the best grade. It should be like the Blue Mountain coffee. People should be flying out to Jamaica just to get ours, like how they buy our coffee. Of course, Apple. And I fear that this new free marijuana might just do the same thing the cigarette does to people. I'm sure there'll be warnings. We are always late for the party. When we turn up for the party, it's over. And I hope this is a lesson to Jamaica. Now, if I was going to speak to the Rastafarian community, I would say to these individuals, make sure that the marijuana or the sensimina or the kush or whatever you call it, make sure you're holding on to those seeds, those real good marijuana seeds, because that is where your wealth lies. Because these new type of new breed of marijuana plant that is coming through, my mother used it for, okay. Yeah, the marijuana plant is a spiritual plant. It hasn't changed. It's not changed. It's the same plant. I don't know about the new one now that's legalized or whatever, but I'm talking about the marijuana from Jamaica, the sensimina in Jamaica, that they demonized on a health debate. Nothing like it. Okay, exactly. So much chemical. Nothing like it when it comes to health. And not just for health purpose, not just for consumption, but the use. The multiple ways in which you can use marijuana for clothing, for, like I said, for oils, for things like that. And we miss the boat. We allow someone else to tell us, to demonize the plant, say that it was evil. Look how long Peter Tosh was saying, free up the marijuana, free it up. Look how long ago did Peter Tosh die, and look how long that message was in that song, and we missed it. She lives in the States where it's illegal, but is legal everywhere. Okay. Why don't you write to the Jamaican Prime Minister and put forward a business plan? Truthfully speaking, yes, Apple, shampoo, soap, detergent, drink, weed, fragrance, food. Oh my gosh. The purposes vary. As far as the Prime Minister, the Jamaican Prime Minister wouldn't want to hear from me. I don't have the right skin color. I would not be able to speak to the Jamaican Prime Minister and to advance any ideas that's going to contribute to the benefit of the Jamaican people. Because if I went to the Prime Minister, I'd be saying, excuse me, you need to be pooling your resources. You see that money you're borrowing from the IMF? You need to be putting it towards industries that are Jamaican, to make us grow and to build our country. And then what I want you to do is make sure that you're employing your own Jamaican people, not just in the fields to plant it, but in the factories and in areas where we can, and then you're going to put money into educating our kids so they can go away and learn how to produce it on the levels that other folks are going to be producing it. Oh no, he's what I'm trying to say is our people have no respect for each other. If you're a black skin or dark skin person, you can be, listen, don't get me wrong. The Prime Minister is married to a black woman. He's a black man himself. I'm not saying that he's prejudiced. I'm just saying that we oftentimes don't see value in our own people. And a prophet, if I can use that old cliche, a prophet never has respect in his own country. Maybe someone else, of a different persuasion, go and tell the Prime Minister that he might listen, but he's not going to listen to me. Who are you? That's the first thing he's going to say. Who are you to be telling me anything? What claim to fame do you have? Who are you? He's not going to listen to me. As far as he's concerned, I'm just a regular, Jamaican person who's just running off my mouth. But I'm sure he would welcome every other person from every other place to come and give them a plot of land and the opportunity to farm and, continue to use his own people as servants. I don't want to write to the Prime Minister about that. I think he should know. And he should really say to himself as a black man and say to himself, whoa, how stupid was I? I'm not blaming the current Prime Minister because there were others before him. But I'm sure that they're not sitting in a corner, or are they, saying to themselves, oh my gosh, we got duped. Look what happened. Look what we did to our people. Look at the kind of warfare we wage against our own people, sending youths to prison. I mean, I keep forgetting that guy's name. He died in jail. He just had a joint and he died. They arrested him and he was murdered in jail for a spliff. For a spliff. Hmm? Yeah, Peter was saying legalize it. Long time. But our people, our leaders always wait for the bigger heads, folks from other nations to tell them when and where and how and why. And so now it's freed up in this country. And I think this country is very conservative, but they have at least done their research and realized now it's more beneficial than it's dangerous or it's harmful. The chat has disappeared again, and I'm going to disappear myself. Just want to say thanks to everybody who joined me here tonight, and just something to think about, something to mull about, to mull on, to say, you know what, we have to stop getting left in the dust. We have to stop allowing, other folks to determine our path. I think for ourselves, use things that are beneficial to us, to our people. And subversive means are necessary sometimes. You don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. So if you look and you see other nations are doing something that is working for them, and they tell you that you can't do it, and you feel like, well, I'm not strong enough. I'm not, powerful enough to stand up to these great giants. Doesn't mean that you have to say no and surrender. You can just say, okay, whatever you say, but still do your own thing. Empress is still married. Your intelligence is growing on me. So regal, so royal. It makes so. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, I am still married. That is one of the things that I feel the African woman and man need to understand, that we need family. We have to try to build strong family. And in order for our lives to get better, for us to be stronger, and for our children to get role models, we have to try to understand the importance of family and to grow. No ego, no pride, no saying to yourself, I don't need a man, or the man saying, I don't need a woman. We need each other. And our family structure need to be built up. We need our kids, our children must grow up seeing us in environments, of love, to grow and to change. So I'm not saying get married just for the sake of getting married. I'm not saying everyone has to be married in order to be successful in life. I'm just saying that I want to see more Black children grow up in households where they see mom and dad, and they don't have to be legally married, because marriage is not, and that's something we could talk about another time. Marriage is not about a piece of paper that you sign or a ring that you wear on your hand or a wedding. Marriage itself is sex. The moment two individuals get together and have sex, you're married. That's a spiritual union, and that's why we're seeing so many problems with people, because they don't understand. They don't understand that what marriage really is. You don't have to have 15 kids, Apple. You can just have one child. You have kids that you can afford. Bless up Ross. Bless up Pasadena. We need to get together as a community, and we can't just stand by and watch folks just kill each other and cut each other's throat and say that it's okay and take sides and all that stuff. We cannot do that. Oh yeah, try to talk about that a little bit for a while, about social media and what we're seeing. One of the things that I want to say on that before I go is that if people recognize some of these individuals have huge platforms, they have skills. There's something about their personality that pull people to them. And I think that's a blessing. And I think once they realize the blessing of having that ability to pull people, then you get them, you get their attention. They listen to your every word. Do you know, if you have two, say, for example, YouTube personalities, I'm going to call them, and each has 100 or 150,000 subscribers. That's three. If they both have that amount, 300,000. Do you know what you could do? Do you know what you could start? 300,000 person, and these persons have some cult-like following. Some of these individuals, they got people who fight for them, people who go battle for them. If you have these guys and you're able to use your platform in a positive way, imagine if you said to people, we are opening an account and 100,000 person is going to put $1 in that account, and we are going to go to every person's community who was involved in putting money in that, and we are going to take money out, like how we have the, what do you call it, the partner where people throw money and they take their money out and then they do whatever they want to do. Imagine if you have a YouTube channel and you're able, and we're not talking about scammers, we're talking to people who are honest, and you say put $1 in this. If you really, especially if you really have 100,000 people and they're actively involved on your channel every time you post, and you get them to put $1, this money is not for you. This is for community building. Do you know what you could do? Do you know the power and the strength of the black dollar? What we're able to do? So even when we talk about the marijuana thing earlier, to say the typical person will not be able to get registered because they don't have the money to register to be a marijuana producer or planter or whatever. But if you come together in community, exactly, and pool your resources. Look at industries in Jamaica that is lacking. One of the biggest problem in Jamaica now, when we talk about war and people being angry and the violence, everybody come out to condemn it, including myself. Sometimes I get so fed up. We come to condemn people with their killing and whatever. But if we ever thought for a moment, how could we come together to make a difference in our country and say, okay, we're going to start this thing and we're putting it in a bank. We're going to open a bank account and we're going to get someone in the bank to manage or monitor the thing so people are not thinking we're scammers. And when we get that money, Black people have the power and the ability to make great waves and to do great things in the world. In the same way, our dollar is so powerful, but we don't realize, if we understood the power of our dollar, there's no way people would just be kicking down Black people and shooting down Black people on the road and disrespecting Black people on the road. I always say to people, I give you 1 week to hold that dollar in the Black community and see what happens. 1 week as protest. 1 week of going to the bank and withdrawing every dime you got, and see how people start paying attention to you. Why do you think every time someone says something very racist about a Black person, a company, someone says something racist and people start protesting, how suddenly, people get very, cautious, and people start sending out the apologies and telling you, they feel bad and this and that, because they know that if you recognize the power you hold as a person of color, if you recognize your power, you'll be able to do great things. You'll be able to command respect from people. Okay? We got power, and it's our money. It's our money. We can do great things with our money. The typical girl alone on makeup, and I know makeup and hair and all these things that people spend their money on. If Black women even stop for a moment and look at the amount of money we spend on these things, we'll be further ahead as a people. We're not investing. We're not looking for opportunities to make money, because guess what? Our religion teaches us that it is easier for the camel to go to the eye of needle than for a rich man to enter into heaven. So from the offset, they teach us that we shouldn't want money, and that if you try to gain wealth and fortune and all that stuff, you're going straight to hell. So now we have no regard for how we can grow, how we audit, and they make sure that the people stay in that mindset, and the poor people stay poor and stay fighting with each other. And the poor people can't just blame those folks who put them in that place or socialize them that way. They have a mind of their own. They can think. They can think for themselves. Marijuana is legal in many places in the States. It's now legal in this country. And although there are rules and regulations, the truth of the matter is Jamaica has allowed themselves to be conned out of being an active member in this. And I am afraid that as things stand right now, they are going to be the ones who are actually sort of field hands producing this for other people and not to develop their country. Jamaica should be wealthy from marijuana, and I hope one day the prime minister or other persons within the country will realize that, listen, we got duped, we got tricked into saying this was bad and it was evil, and they owe the Jamaican people an apology. Those, especially those who went to jail or those who they destroyed their field, those guys should have a class action suit against them now to say, pay us back for stuff that you destroyed. But the parting message here is to say, sorry, if we say we want peace in Jamaica, we have to be willing to wave the peace flag. And we have to be prepared not to encourage folks to hate on each other and to disrespect other people. Sorry, still struggling with this cold. And before we go, I want to put this message out there. If you're a doctor or you're a lawyer or you whatever profession you are, good for you. You worked hard. You deserve whatever, success you have. But I'm asking you to stop looking down on other people who don't have a degree, many of whom did not get your opportunity. If you're a farmer, if you are a person who chops somebody's yard, if you just wash clothes for a living, whatever it is, if it's an honest bread that you're making, don't allow anyone to make you feel bad about yourself. And anytime you meet someone who is disrespecting other folks because of their social position or their lack of education, you have to challenge those folks. You have to say to them, you know what, if you didn't get the opportunity you have, maybe you wouldn't be in the place where you're at. Encourage those who are less fortunate. Look for opportunity to cry peace. It doesn't make you a coward. It doesn't make you a coward to say peace. It is what we need in our lives. It's what we need in our community, because we know how to cry peace when it comes to other people. Other folks have done some horrible things to Black people, and we cry peace, and nothing is wrong with that. But I'm saying, if you know how to surrender, if you know how to say, I forgive you, we can do the same thing to our brother and sister in the world. Bread is honest. Yes, honest bread. That bread that you eat that you didn't steal. That's what they mean, Apple. If you're working, listen, when my husband came to this country, let me tell you, some of the things that he's done for a living, people who are asking for money in Jamaica from him would never do it. I remember his first job was working at what do you call it? Recycle. It was a recycle place that he was working at. And I remember him telling me one day when they came with the stuff for him to sort, it was covered with feces, animal feces. And I remember one day he had to say to them, okay, at this point, I'm going to put my foot down. I will not touch those things unless I have proper gear, proper clothing. He was working for honest money, because he made the decision that I'm not going to sell drugs. I'm not going to do anything illegal. People always say, oh, if you're not willing to do something illegal in this country, you'll never get anywhere. And that's not the truth. So I don't promote people to get involved in illegal activities, but I'm saying every country should dictate or decide for themselves what is best for them and their people. And if you have something that is working, especially something that is as natural as a marijuana plant, they were stupid to allow anybody, America or anyone else, to tell them that it was wrong. Because the same folks who told them that it was wrong, these individuals, bless you, ill wills, how are you doing? How is your son doing? The same persons who told them that it was a horrible thing and that they shouldn't be involved in it, these individuals now have moved ahead of the pack and they're going to benefit from this. I'm glad that they woke up and understood that, there is benefit to marijuana. So I'm not criticizing the Canadian government. I really respect him for doing that. But I'm just saying, let it be a lesson learned to Jamaica to say that, chart your own territory, determine what is right for you, what is right or wrong for you. You are men and women who can think for yourself. And as long as the thing is beneficial to your people, that is going to allow us to move from that mediocre place to become people that are respected in the world. Because you know what, we're saying money is not important. You know, you're gonna go to heaven if you're poor. That's pretty much what that scripture is saying. We have to let that go and go in pursuit, not just of happiness in terms of just looking good and just having a house that the bank owns and having a car, but wanting more for ourselves and our family, wanting more for our community, because that's where most people leave it. They want more, but they want it for themselves and their family, wanting to see that neighbor do well, wanting to see the neighbor's child do well, wanting to see our community grow where we can brag about, you know, what we have here. Do you get what I'm saying? But all of that can only happen when we come together as a community, when we build together as a community, when we are willing to say, you know what, I am imperfect and so is the other person. Another man or woman is imperfect. None of us are perfect. Just mostly water, Apple. Truthfully speaking, I mostly wash my face with just water. I don't really use a bunch of stuff on my skin because I'm very sensitive. That's why. But I'll be willing to try some of these, you know, natural plants and natural remedies in Jamaica on my skin. But yeah, olive oil. I use coconut oil sometimes on my face as well. But no biggie. We're 9,000 years off from intelligence. Why is that, Sebastian? What's stopping us from being intelligent? Just like the other people in the world have the ability to think for themselves, so do we. So do we. Can't spend Jesus. They can spend Jesus. Trust me. Just recently, someone gave me a quote, and the person says that when we you know, when we give to the church and so on, we are giving to God. Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Anyway, Ras, Adeno, Sebastian, Jamaican, Apple, Ilwiz. I'm going to cut. Just had something on my mind as far as this idea of peace. Asking the question, do we really want peace? And if you want something, how far and are you willing to go to get it? If we want peace in our community, in our country, it starts with us. And we have to be willing to say, you know what, I don't have anything to prove. I'm just not going to fight with my brother and sister. I'm just not interested to fight with Black people. So I'm not saying we don't have our disagreements, but I'm not interested in having any all-out brawl, because while we are doing this, other nations are growing and thriving, and we're just staying like a fool. You don't want me to go. You know, we're just acting stupid. We're not understanding the power we have in joining our forces together. Peace must reign. Peace, peace, peace. We have to look for Apple. Have you ever seen some people who are striking against someone who they say is bad, who's done wrong things? They're speaking to the person and they're saying, you know, you're wretched for doing this thing, but their behavior is just as wretched. You know, so we have to be willing to say, you know what, I'm not perfect. You look at the person, even if they upset you sometimes. This is how I am. If I get upset with somebody, you know, and I go off, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I go off and I get angry, but then I go back and I rethink it. And I start putting myself in the other person's shoes. And I'm starting to say to myself, okay, why did this person do this? Or why is this person behaving this way? And most times there is a story. Most times, it's even like with children. Sometimes you see kids acting out. It's so easy to judge what you see without taking time to understand why this person is doing this way, this thing, and why is this person behaving this way. There's always an explanation for it. Okay. General argument here is to let's seek after peace. And when we find peace, because you have to find it within yourself first before you can share it with other people. And when you look and you see other persons doing things that you perceive to be wrong, don't be too quick to condemn that person. Yes, you can chastise them. You can speak to them truthfully. But the best way to reach someone or appeal to people to change is to get to their level, let them explain what's happening, and let them know that you're not judging them. Judgment is just not good. I don't like judgment. We all do it. We're all guilty of judgment, but at the end of the day, nobody responds to judgment or condemnation. If anything, it makes them worse. If somebody's behaving badly and you come to them with judgment and condemnation, you're not getting them to change. You won't get them to change. You're just gonna anger them more. And think you need to get to the point where you're saying, you know what, I understand where you're at. I get what you get, but here's my perspective. And let that perspective not be one that when you're done, the person feel like you beat them down to the ground and they feel worthless. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm waiting for the live stream to come back up, and then I'm really going to say good night to everybody. Thank you so much. Actually, this is the longest I've ever been. This is now 1 hour and a few seconds. I've never stayed this long. So thank you again for joining me. Just a little food for thought. The legalization of marijuana in Canada today really had me thinking. And I'm saying to myself, Jamaican government, I hope they learn a lesson and that they don't find themselves behind the rest of the world. And sometimes they strike against a person who is really trying to, of course, they'll come to you and attack you. The very people who say they want change. So much information on who we are, where the earth is at, and going extra lands untold to us. Of course, the half has never been told. We just have to be willing to search to find that out. And sometimes they strike against the person who is really trying to help them. Yes. Yes, Apple, of course. So, Apple, do you smoke marijuana? Or how do you feel about, places legalizing the marijuana plant? How do you feel about it? Bless up, Sebastian. And you come and visit me anytime. You don't have to subscribe if it's not a big deal. You just come back. Only when you subscribe, you see my recent posts and things like that. But take your time and feel free to come again. Message to the Jamaican government. The rest of the world is leaving you behind. Marijuana is legal now in this country. And you are going to be a servant in this game. Learn. Be smart. And when other men come to tell you what to do, you are a man. You're a man too. Just like every other man, you're a man too. And you can say to yourself, you know what? I'm a man that put on my briefs or my underpants the same way, put on my pants the same way. I'm a man. Good night, Sebastian. I'm a man. And if I'm a man and I'm an African man, I'm supposed to look out for my African people. I can embrace other people, but I have to do what other people do, which is take care of their own. Good night, everybody. Stay blessed.